All right, let's talk about Ernest Hemingway. When you think of the great writers, his name is always right there at the top. But how did he do it? What was his secret sauce? That's what we're going to get into today, his whole philosophy on the craft of writing.
So, right off the bat, Hemingway throws us a curveball. He says nobody really knows or understands, and nobody has ever said the secret. He felt that great writing had this kind of unknowable magic to it. He called it poetry written into prose, which, yeah, sounds incredibly hard to do. It's not some simple formula you can just write down.
But, and this is the cool part, even though he said the secret was a secret, he kind of left breadcrumbs for us. If you look through his letters, his interviews, his essays, you start to see a pattern. It's like he left behind a map. And today, well, we're going to follow that map and see where it takes us.
Okay, so first things first. The writer's essential toolkit. Before you can even think about style or technique, Hemingway said you need to have some fundamental stuff in your corner. These are the absolute non-negotiables.
And here they are. He broke it down into 4 key things. First, you've got to have talent. And not just a little, he specified much talent. Second, the discipline of someone like Flaubert. You know, the ability to just grind it out and perfect your craft. Third, an absolute conscience. That's about being brutally honest in your work. And last but not least, the ability to just survive, to hang in there and get the work done. Because as he put it, time is so short. So you've got all these lofty ideas, talent, discipline, conscience. And then Hemingway, in his classic style, boils it all down to this. He said the most essential gift is a built-in, shockproof shit detector. I mean, you can't get more blunt than that, right? It's that gut feeling, that internal alarm that goes off when you're writing something fake or dishonest. It's the tool that keeps that absolute conscience in check.
And that's because that detector is absolutely crucial for what he called true writing. Now, this is a really interesting idea. For Hemingway, true didn't mean factually accurate, like a newspaper report. It meant creating a story that feels so real, so authentic, that it might as well have happened. It's about inventing something that's somehow truer than reality itself.
Okay, now we're getting to the big one, his most famous idea, the thing everyone associates with Hemingway, the iceberg principle. This is where that whole concept of true writing really comes to life.
So what is it? Simply put, it's the idea that if you, the writer, truly know your subject inside and out, you can leave stuff out. You can omit things. And the reader somehow will feel those missing pieces just as strongly as if you'd written them down. It's all about the power of what's not said.
And here's the beautiful metaphor he used to explain it. The dignity of movement of an iceberg is due to only 1/8 of it being above water. Think about that. All the power, the majesty of an iceberg, it comes from the massive part you can't even see. And that's exactly what a story should be like. The words on the page are just the tiny tip.
But, and this is the key takeaway, there's a huge difference between knowing omission and ignorant omission. Leaving something out because you know it so well that you don't need to say it, that creates that massive underwater part of the iceberg. It gives your story weight. But leaving something out because you just don't know the details, well, that just leaves empty, hollow places in your writing. It's a cheat, and readers can feel it.
All right, so we've got the toolkit and we've got the technique. But what kind of life does it take to actually do this? For Hemingway, the answer was pretty stark. It's a lonely, wonderful craft.
He really believed this to his core. He said, writing at its best is a lonely life. You know, sure, you can join writing groups and go to conferences, and that might make you feel less alone. But he thought it often weakened the work. The real, gut-wrenching, important work happens when it's just you, the page, and, as he puts it, you have to face eternity each day. No pressure, right?
And this really gets to the heart of the paradox of being a writer, at least for him. The pain versus the pleasure. He said he would suffer like a bastard when he couldn't write, but that he'd never feel as good as when he was actually doing it. It's this crazy push and pull, this cycle of agony and pure joy that seems to define the whole thing.
So why? Why go through all of it? The loneliness, the pain, the discipline. What's the point? Well, for Hemingway, the ultimate goal was something huge, writing for immortality.
The end game wasn't just to write a good book that people would enjoy. No, the goal was to create something so real, so intensely true, that it actually becomes a part of the reader's own experience. It stops being a story you read and becomes a memory you have.
And he put it perfectly right here.
all good books are alike and that they are truer than if they had really happened. It's an incredible thought, right? That after you finish a really great book, you feel like everything in it actually happened to you. The places you went, the people you met, it all becomes yours. It's part of your personal history now.
And that's the final piece of the puzzle. That's the immortality he was chasing. If you can pull it off, if you can write something that true, that good, it won't just last for a few years. He believed it would last as long as there are human beings to read it. It becomes part of our collective story. And really, what's a bigger legacy than that?